this is Tim Calling, coming at you again from Senior Leads Boost with another weekly tips video. This week's tips are about backups, in particular backups for your website. Lots of details about them, so here goes. So first of all, why do you need backups for your website? Well, because sometimes bad things happen. There can be a lot of things that can go wrong with your website. Sometimes it'll just simply go down because there's a problem on the server that you can solve by restarting the server. But sometimes things will get broken or become non-usable. Sometimes things get deleted when you don't expect them to. And then you're in trouble. Just imagine how hard it would be to recreate everything on your website from scratch. With good backups, you won't have to. So when should you do backups? It's not a once and done thing. In fact, another way to ask this question is, how much can you afford to lose? In other words, if your website crashes and you have to restore from backups, you will lose content that you added to the website after the last backup. Well, then, how much can you afford to lose? How much can you afford to have to recreate? So I'll tell you what we do. We manage about 80 or so websites now. We do backups actually at two different schedules. We do a backup once every hour, and then we also do a backup once every day. So where do you store backups? Well, here's what this means. When you do a backup, basically you're creating a file or multiple files that contain the data that was on your website in a different location so that you can then basically restore it or copy it back to the website. So you could store them locally, which means on the same server as the server that the website's on, or in a different location, a different server. That's called remote storage. There's pros and cons to both. For local storage, it's faster to restore, almost always. You can restore a big website very quickly if the backups are stored locally. However, there's a risk with those with local storage, because if the website server itself crashes catastrophically, if the server cannot be brought back up so that all of the files on it are simply gone, well, then your backups are gone if they're local. Remote storage means storing the backups on a different server. Now, this has got pros and cons also. They are slower to restore because they have to be the files have to be sent over the internet doing the restore. It's not a big factor, but it's something to consider. Much safer though, because those backups won't be lost if the website server crashes. What we do is we do both, locally stored and remotely stored. Now, how do you do backups? Well, there are many tools that will create backups, but you have to ask, number one, how reliable are they? Can the backups that they create really be restored? Now, that might seem like a dumb question, but it's not. For many years, there was a real problem with a couple of the mainstream tools that were used to manage websites. One called cPanel, for instance, which back in the old days would create backups that were not able to be restored. They were junk. And so people thought they were safe, and then it turned out they weren't. So that's a very important question. And then another important question is, how easy or how hard is it to restore the backups that are created? So here's what we do. We do all of our local backups using GridPane. That's the software that we use to manage our servers. We've got quite a few servers that we have dedicated entirely to just our websites. And with GridPane, we can create local and remote backups. So we create local backups every hour and every day. And then we also create daily remote backups that are stored on AWS, Amazon Web Storage, Web Services. We also create remote backups using our primary remote backup tool, which is called BlogVault, which is great. It also provides malware protection, which is important. And it also has some other nice features like a down detector, so you get alerted if your website becomes unavailable. It costs a little bit extra, but it's very reasonably priced considering the value that it provides. So, lots of things to consider. It's not as easy a topic as you might have thought at first, but those are some of the things that are important to consider when you think about backups for your website. We'd love to be able to help you with your website, with your maintenance, or designing a new one. We we have a history of doing a great job of creating websites for senior care related businesses. If you are so inclined, we'd love to talk to you if you want to reach out to us, and I promise we'll do our best to help you. Thank you very much. I hope this has been helpful. We'll see you next week. Thanks.